Hey YouTube, today is Wednesday and I said I wasn't gonna do any more videos until I post a hair video or another Mental Monday video for next week, but I recently had something to come up and it really made me think on like I really need to do a video on entrepreneurship because I think people have like a misconception of what it means to be a quote unquote boss or to work for yourselves. I feel like it's like one of those memes where, you know, it says what my friends think I'm doing and what I'm actually doing because to the outside world, you know, to call yourself a boss or to say you work for yourself, it just seems like the American dream. Like you just live this easy life and you just do what you want to do. You know, it's like a free for all and you just make money and it's just boundless amounts of money just falling out the sky. And you don't have to answer to anybody. You don't have to clock in and clock out. But in reality, entrepreneurs work twice as long and twice as hard and pay twice to three times as much out to be able to provide for their families. And so I really wanted to go in depth on entrepreneurship and what it truly means to work for yourself. This month I actually celebrated 2 years in my suite and it's 3 years of me not clocking into a job at all. I've done hair full time for 3 years now, which is really like the longest that I've ever gone doing hair full time. I started doing hair very, very early. I started braiding hair when I was like 12, 13 years old for money. And when I say braiding hair, I mean like I had a clientele at like 12, 13 braiding hair. I would braid my hair. That turned into braiding people at the church's hair, and that turned into braiding other people's hair. So I started braiding and kind of being a little mini boss really, really early. So from, I'll say 12 until 30, which is now, I have always basically had my own quote-unquote business. So it kind of came natural to me, making money for myself and doing my own thing. By the time I turned 16, 17, I started actually working in the hair salon that I was getting my hair done at. I was relaxed then, so where I was getting my hair done at, those ladies kind of took me under their wing. I started as their shampoo assistant and they taught me so much. And when I say so much, I mean like things that I still use to this day. They both were master stylists that have been in the game forever and they taught me so much. So shout out to Monique and Tasha because you all are the reason I am here today and I really appreciate that. I appreciate everything you've ever done for me. Anyway, fast forward, when I got out of high school, of course, I was a scholar growing up. And so everybody expected me to grow up and be a doctor or a lawyer. I always liked the arts though, so my scholarship for college was actually in theater. But hair was always there. So when I had my son, I actually dropped out of college when I had my son, when I got pregnant with him. Like, I found out I was pregnant and I did one semester and I was like, you know what, life is too much. I can't do this, like, no. So I dropped out of school and I went back to hair. Now, I never really stopped hair, but it was just like a side hustle, something I would do to make some extra money to provide for myself. But when I got pregnant with my son and I stopped going to school, I started back doing hair again. And so like from my pregnancy on up to, I'll say he was about 2, I did hair full time. And I worked at salons all over, just do hair, and I loved it because of course it was flexible. I mean, I was doing hair out the house. Me and my son's father, we lived together for a year and our kitchen area was basically like a salon. Like I did hair out the house. He would help me like go around and find salons. Like once it started being too much of having people in our house, he actually helped me go and find salons to work at. So I actually started working in a barber shop of the guy who cut his hair. And I feel like that was like the best time of my life because in a barbershop, when you're the only girl, you know, any clientele is your clientele. It's not any cattiness, any competition, nothing. It's just like all good vibes. So I worked in barbershops, like 2 or 3 barbershops, actually following that guy around to wherever he was working at. And but I still wasn't doing hair full time. So I ended up joining the military, and I got a lot of good training from the military, and I fell into IT. And IT is what I did right before this most present moment of me doing hair full time. So I lived in Texas and I worked IT, and I was just sick of corporate life. I felt really underpaid and underappreciated. Even though I was making good money, I wasn't making what my white male coworkers were making, and my workload was the same, if not more than them, and I just felt underappreciated. And I was going through a personal thing at the time, because I do have a small son. We tried the you go live with your dad for a little bit, and that did not work for me. I went through like a heavy depression. It was really hard. I couldn't do it. So I ended up moving back to Alabama. Now, when I got ready to move back to Alabama, which was 2015, I realized that the job market sucked. Like, I was coming from Dallas, where I'm getting emails and recruiters constantly grabbing at me for my skill set, basically like name your own price. As a matter of fact, right before I moved back from Dallas, I got a job offer making like $15,000 more than what my current company was paying me. So I had to make like a big decision. Like, do I stay here in Texas and take this raise that I really, really wanted, or do I move back, not really knowing what's going to go on when I moved back to Alabama, because the job market was horrible. I was having a hard time finding something in my field. So it basically took me having like big faith, and that's the whole point of this. Like, in entrepreneurship, you have to have big faith. And when I say big faith, I mean walking in a foreign place, basically with your eyes blindfolded, and allowing God to lead you completely, if you decide to really, really seriously hunker down and work for yourself and not work for anybody else. And so I had this job offer in one hand, and I had come back to Alabama and go for what I know was just my hustle, which is doing hair. And I was so scared because I had been gone for so many years. I was like, I'm not gonna have the same clientele. Like, it's just not the same. Back then, when I was doing hair full time, it was all about relaxers, and now everybody's natural. I had actually gone natural, so I was already familiar with natural hair and knowing natural hair. But I wasn't sure if everybody in Montgomery was on that wave yet, and so I was nervous. And a guy that I went to school with, he owned a salon here, and he was looking for a natural hairstylist. And I remember I saw him post that he was looking for a natural hairstylist, and I just was like, Lord, is this what you want me to do? Like, is this gonna work out? I just went back and forth with myself for a long, long time. Like, when I say long time, I mean like a week. I just went back and forth with myself. Like, should I do this? I don't know. And finally, I reached out to him, and I told him, hey, you know, my history is in doing hair. I showed him some styles, because even in Texas, I was still like braiding hair and everything. I had a full-time job, but in my spare time, if I could, I was still doing hair, making more money. So like, hair has always been here. So I finally reached out to that guy and let him know that I was interested, you know, and he really like went above and beyond to get me started here. Like, would help me with everything to get started, to be able to work at a shop doing natural hair here. So I really want to like pause, because I really appreciate that. If it wasn't for him taking a chance on me, I wouldn't be sitting in my own space now. Like, he basically opened the door for me to do that. And in entrepreneurship, even though you're working for yourself and you're a boss, you still need connections, and you still need a network of people to build up to where you need to be. Like, you can't do it on your own. So it's like, you need God, and you need a network of people who are willing to take a chance on you for you to even kickstart to get to the point where I am now, which is working full time and being able to handle my house bills along with my shop bills. So I worked at this salon for a certain period of time. That situation didn't work out, and fast forward, I ended up here in my own suite. Now, people always are like, oh, I'm so happy for you. You living a good life. This is amazing. Nobody tells you what to do. You kind of work when you want to, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, pause, because that's yes, in a way that's how it is, but then again, no. I probably work probably 50 to 60 hours a week. That doesn't include, that's like physical me being in the shop doing hair work. That doesn't include constantly talking to clients on the phone, constantly talking to clients via email, helping clients who don't know how to use my style seat, book appointments. Like my work, I basically work 24/7, and I'm pretty sure any other entrepreneur can vouch. Like when you work for yourself, there is not really a time that you're not working. You're always working. If you're out with your girls having girls night and a client emails you, if you're like me, I'm trying to learn to stop, to like separate the time. But if you're like me, when you get that email, you get a question about your business, you're going to respond. So you're basically working all the time. The only time you're not working is when you're asleep. So the number one thing I want you all to understand, if you're thinking about quitting your job and making bracelets or whatever your talent may be, you know, because some people have legitimate talents that I know some people that I feel like you should really pursue this. You should just put in your 2 weeks notice and pursue this. I really feel like if they did, God would really make it happen for them. But I think it's like a fear thing. But before you decide to do that, I really want you all to understand, like, working for yourself means you're always working. When you go to your regular 8 to 5 job, you go to work 8 to 5. They pay you for whatever time it is that you work, and you're when you clock out, you clock out. That's it. Unless you're in a field like a doctor or something that has you on call, or IT that you're on call. When you clock in and you clock out, that's it. You get a guaranteed lunch break every day by law. You get guaranteed 15-minute breaks every day by law. There are days when I come in here and I work 10 hours and I do not even eat. And I know that's bad and you're not supposed to do that and everybody fusses at me, but once I start working, like, I'm working. I don't stop. So there have been many days. There is no hour lunch break. There is no guaranteed 2 15-minute breaks. So you're going to work, and you're going to work hard, and it's not going to be easy. And a lot of days, the only thing holding you and carrying you is the fact that you're doing what you love and you're using the gift God gave you. I always tell people, find what your gift is, and if your gift is lucrative, go for it. But everybody is not meant to be an entrepreneur. We need people to work jobs. Like the world can't go around without people working jobs in every aspect. So don't let people who do work for themselves make you feel small, make you feel like because you clock in and out that you're not valuable or you're not on it. Like, you're handling your business, you're taking care of your family, you're doing what you need to do to survive out here. Now, if you have gifts that keep you up at night, I suggest you finding time to actually channel those gifts and use those gifts. But every gift is not meant to be your means to take care of yourself. So don't let the new wave of boss, babe, or guy come and make you feel like you're supposed to give up your means to provide for you and your family, or that you're supposed to feel less than because you don't work for yourself. Because I work a lot and I miss a lot. I feel like when you're working Monday through Friday, your weekends are guaranteed. Sometimes I work Monday through Saturday, and I'm only off on Sunday. And my son plays sports, and sometimes I miss games and things like that, or family time, or I can't do this and I can't do that because I have to work. So you're going to give up a lot of yourself and a lot of your time for your business. The second thing I want you all to understand, when you go to work, you get paid to go to work. Every second that you spend working, you're getting paid. When you walk in the building, you know the lights are going to be on. You know you're going to have water, your computer, your desk, whatever it is you do. That's paid for by the company that you work for. When you work for yourself, that's not the case. Everything is on you. Whether you rent a booth, whether you rent a suite, whether you rent a building, you have to pay somebody. So you're looking at basically whatever your house bills are, like the average rate to rent a seat, just a seat like the one I'm sitting in. The average rate to rent a seat a week is anywhere between $150 and $200 a week. That's just to have somewhere for your clients to sit in. That does not include products. That is, in which if you're like me and you're working constantly, whatever your product is, you're having to re-up constantly on your products to provide for your business. Or if you have employees, that doesn't include paying your employees. And for people who have whole buildings that they rent out or have purchased, I mean, they basically, they have their house mortgage or rent, and then they have their shop mortgage or rent, and they still have a light bill, they still have a gas bill. If something breaks, guess what, they still got to pay for it, just like if they were buying a house. Like, there's a lot of financial responsibility that goes into working for yourself. So if you're not good with finances, you can make all the money in the world and you're not going to see any profit. Like, you're not going to see the profit, because you have to know how to balance. You have to realize, I'm working to pay my house bills because I do have my own home and pay those bills, and I'm working to pay the stuff that I need to work every day. So it's not like I'm clocking in and somebody paying me to do my job. I have to do my job, make a profit to pay my bills at home, and still make enough profit to pay and cover my business. On top of, I like to do stuff. I like to travel. I like to eat and try new foods. My son is in activities. He likes to do stuff. So working for yourself means working 3 times as hard, because you have 3 times as much as the responsibility to cover when you're working for yourself. So I don't want people thinking that it's gonna be like some ta-da moment and you're working for yourself and everything's just gravy. You're gonna have some days where you look and you're like, how is this gonna work? Or if something comes up, an emergency fund, or even an emergency itself, don't take for granted the fact that you have vacation days and sick days, and you can still get paid for those days. When you work for yourself, if you're sick and you're down and out, if you don't have some type of supplemental insurance to cover you, that's it. You have 0 income. But the thing about it is, even if you're sick, you still have to pay your house bills, and you still have to pay the bills for your business. So it's like a constant thing of prayer and faith in, like, God, keep me healthy so I can handle my business, because a lot of hairstylists don't have a supplemental insurance, and it's not as easy as you would think to actually find a supplemental insurance to cover you if something was to happen. And that just goes for entrepreneurship, period. Not just hairstylists, just anybody. Another thing to take into consideration is insurance for yourself, medical coverage for yourself and your family. When you work a 9-to-5 job, in most cases, people are blessed to have insurance as a part of their incentive for working for that company. When you work for yourself, you're paying for that out of pocket. I have to pay Blue Cross Blue Shield myself and pay for my vision and pay for my dental. So, you know, entrepreneurship is very rewarding. I can say, like, if I do need to block off time to live my best life or travel or do this, do that, I do have the flexibility of doing that, and my schedule is completely flexible. I basically work my work schedule around my son, so I'm able to drop him off and pick him up. But I have to work to survive. Like, you're gonna work way more hard than you do in a normal 9-to-5. So before you decide to make that leap and take that jump, just make sure that you're fully aware of everything that comes along with it. You have to also really know how to deal with people. And I hear a lot of people saying they're tired of their boss and they want to quit their job because they're sick of this or sick of their coworker. When you own a business, your clientele are your bosses. If they ever quit me, if all my bosses quit me, I don't have a business anymore. And if I don't have a business anymore, I can't provide for myself and my family. So you lose one boss for many bosses. So you have to, if you have an issue with a people person issue, you need to work on that and work on your inside. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to build up a rapport with your clientele so that they trust you and they get along with you to come back to keep utilizing your business. You can't, without people, you can't have a business. So you are going to have some type of, I don't want to say personality, because you can have a good personality and not necessarily be a people person, but you're going to have some type of willingness to keep your mouth shut, because people are rude in any industry. And then if you're dealing with certain industries like the hair industry, it can be very hard, because people envision one thing in their head and then it's something totally different on them, because you don't look like the person on the picture. But that's a totally different video another time. All my hairstylists could probably relate to that. But you really have to go deep inside yourselves and whatever faith you follow, and pray that God changes you if you're not automatically like a nice people person, and makes you a better person, so that you can continue to have your business and your business can continue to grow. So I just wanted to take the time today to let you all know that if you're thinking about quitting your job or starting your own business, first make sure it aligns with your purpose. Make sure it aligns with your natural gifts and talents that God gave you, because that's the only way it's going to flourish. If you try to force something, it's not going to work. And understand that you're going to work harder than you have ever worked in your entire life in order for that to be a success. But it is possible. If you have those talents, those gifts, and you recognize them, pray to God and take that leap of faith. Because I took a leap of faith moving here, doing hair full time, and it has been awesome, and I have learned so much, and my business has been thriving, and I'm so thankful for that. But it takes big, crazy, undeniable faith in order for that to happen and for that to work. So I will still see you all with a hair video this week. If you have not, please go ahead and subscribe. And I will also see you all Monday for Mental Monday. It's going to be real good next week. I'm really excited. And thank you. See you later.